I haven't pressed that yet. And if I don't, I'll forget. But I just asked her to share a little bit with us about like her journey, what she's got going on right now, how she's, getting her team to be behind her and shoot for top 10, and some of her tips and stuff for how they're planning on ending the year strong. And so without further ado, you can take it away. Do you have slides or anything, Tania?
No.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to throw it on speaker view so we can actually see you, and then we're good.
Yeah, I have to apologize. My son is watching, I think he's watching Monsters University. So if he starts screaming in the back, I apologize because he's watching it. So that's just what happens, right? We have all these Zoom calls at night when the kids are home, and we're like, So anyhow, well, thank you for having me. It's so exciting. I always love jumping on and meeting new people. So thank you so much for having me. I am so happy I'm actually here because I've actually been down all day with a weird stomach thing.
Oh, no.
And I literally felt better like 30 tonight. So, and then I had a call at 7 anyhow. So, but I'm feeling much better, and I'm so happy. I was like almost going to text you and say, we have to reschedule, but I'm here. And so thank you guys so much for having me. And I think without like going so far back into my story, I think it's a lot of people don't really know how I got started with Beachbody. I think.
Bella, what are you doing, Bella?
Hello. I think some people, they just know me as the girl that everybody was either hating or the girl everybody was trying to beat in Insanity. And that's pretty much, like what people kind of remember me from. And it's funny because I'll meet people and they'll be like, oh, you're the girl that I hate. Thanks. But they say, it's funny. I get it all the time. I'm like, well, did I help you get good results? And if they say yes, then I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, but really my history with Beachbody goes like back almost 7-8 years, back when little old hip hop abs came out. And that's kind of where it started. Sean and I are really close. We're like family. And he and I met prior to Beachbody. He and I were professional dancers. I was a professional dancer for most of my adult life. I did a lot of touring. I was on tour with Britney Spears for 4 years. That was like my biggest job, I would say. And I worked a lot in LA on like film and la la la. So I met Sean on a dance job. And this was way before he was training or doing any Beachbody stuff. And then about a year after our show ended, he said to me, oh, I'm doing my own workout DVDs. I'm like, what are you talking? What are you talking about? Anyway, so he's like, Beachbody. I'm like, who's Beachbody? I had no idea. I never watched TV, so I didn't know what I think I called it. I don't even know what I called it. P90. I don't know. I didn't know what that was. I certainly didn't know what Beachbody was. And he said, well, I'm running a test group. I was like, what's that? He goes, well, I'm just, I'm helping a lot of people lose weight with my program. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I had no idea because I saw Sean as the dancer. And anyway, so I knew that he had fitness background because he actually trained all of us. This is a fun little side story. He trained all of us during rehearsals for this show. So the show was called The 10 Commandments, and it was a musical starring Val Kilmer as Moses. Yes, you can judge. It was interesting and very nice guy. Not probably the best choice for Moses. You know who was supposed to be Moses? Was actually John Bon Jovi. That would have been a really cool, yeah. But Val Kilmer was a really nice guy. Anyway, so we did this show and we saw our costumes one day, and I kid you not, like it was this big. Like that was how big our costumes were. And when we saw that, we were like, well, we were dancers, but let me tell you, dancers are not healthy. We just aren't. Like, I think because we dance all day long and I don't know, and we just eat whatever we want. And when we're younger, maybe it doesn't affect us like it does now. But we saw our costumes and we were like, we should probably like work out a little. So Sean's like, I teach some fitness stuff. Do you guys want me to like train you guys every morning? Like, okay. So every morning we would meet at 8 a.m. and from 8 to 9 or about 8 to 8:45, he would train us doing like, we did step class. We did like, you name it, we did it. And we did that every morning. And then we went into 9 hours of rehearsal. So that was I did. So he did kind of train us. I knew that. So I attended his hip hop abs test group, and then the rest was history. Like, he just asked me to be a part of it. And then I helped him develop all of his Beachbody programs. Right by his side, I ran all the test groups with him. And if you don't know what that is, you probably do by now, but the in-person test groups where we cast it and we have people that live in the area that want to sign up to be part of the infomercial, that want to go through this program, show up to the trainings every single day, and we take their before and after pictures. And in that process is really where I learned how to be a coach. And I think that at the time, I believe this network was just being built, and it was called $1 Million Body back then. I don't know if anybody knows that, but it was called $1 Million Body. And it was very small, and I didn't want anything to do with it. I was like, that's weird. That's like Amway, right? Like, I had no idea. And even when I said that, I don't even think I knew what Amway was. I just remember somebody coming to our house and doing a presentation one day. Like, that's all I remember. But I just thought, no, that's not for me. I just want to help Sean build these programs. This is what I love. I love watching. Let me tell you, the first time I saw somebody completely change and transform their life just from a Beachbody program, like, it really hits you, you know, when you see somebody completely change their life around. And at the time, remind you, I wasn't a quote unquote coach, but I was their coach and helping them through this, through this transformation. And I fell in love with everything that Beachbody was doing, but I was always on the other side, right? So I was always on the development side, or I was in the videos with Sean. And this whole other Beachbody network side, I had no idea about, because I've only been a coach for 2 years. And I know all people are probably like, oh my God, you'd be so rich by now, like richer, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, but at the time it wasn't for me. I didn't believe, and here's a fun fact. I don't know if anybody knows, and don't you ever go back and look at it. I was once upon a time the poster girl for Shakeology. I did the Shakeology workouts, and don't go looking them up, because I think you can still get them. Back in the day when Shakeology first came out, they had given away 2 free workouts to go with it. Now, mind you, at the time, I was in insanity. I'd never been an on-camera trainer in my life. Carl called and said, I want you to do this. And I basically had a 1 8-hour rehearsal to do this. He's like, you got this, right? I was like, okay. And I had a rehearsal, and Sean was my backup person during rehearsal. And I did this Shakeology, and I hate watching it now, because I'm like, can I redo those? I mean, obviously they wouldn't let me now because I'm a coach, but anyway, it was mortifying. And at the time, I never drank Shakeology. It didn't taste like it does now. It's, it's funny. So you'll see old ads. In fact, if you even open like BOD, I think they have like my picture. I'm like this at the bottom. And it's like an old Shakeology ad. At the time, I didn't drink Shakeology. And it wasn't until later on, when I went through my first transformation through a Beachbody program, which was with T25, that I really understood what people went through. I saw it, but I was never in their shoes. I never really, when I was younger in college, I struggled with weight. But I think that's kind of all of us. And then I struggled with weight a little bit in my dance career, because I didn't watch what I ate. So I was oftentimes put on weight restriction, but I just got it together and did what I had to do to get the job done. Other than that, I really didn't know what it felt like to have to lose weight or want to lose weight until I gained 60 pounds with my son. I gained a lot of weight. I didn't exercise at all when I was pregnant, because now 60 pounds on me, I'm kind of small. So that was a lot of weight. I think it's a lot of weight anyway, but especially when your doctor says you'll gain about 30 to 40. And I gained that in like the first 4 months. So I gained 60 pounds. He was big. I didn't exercise because prior to him, I had a late miscarriage. I miscarried in my 2nd trimester. So when I got pregnant again, I was terrified. When I say terrified to do anything, I didn't do anything. I did prenatal yoga because someone told me that was good to like open your hips up and all this stuff. And I walked, and that was it. And that's probably, I don't know if that's the reason why I gained a bunch of weight, but I clearly didn't do very much. So I know a lot of people ask me, did you work out a lot when you're pregnant? Nope. And then T25 came around. that was in the development phase. And Sean called me and said, I would really love for you to be part of T25. I was like, in what way? Like, I just had a baby. I just had a C-section and I can't move, nor do I want to move. And I'm like mommy body now. That's like, what do you want me for? And he said, well, I want you to help me develop the program. I've got a 25-minute workout and I really want to see if it would work on you. I was like, 25 minutes? 20, like, no. Anyhow, so long story short, I went through the program. They asked me to be part of, the test group, and I wasn't offended. I'm so funny. Everybody's like, oh God, we didn't even realize. Were you offended that we asked you to do this? Like telling you needed to lose weight? It's like, no, I didn't really think of it that way. But I really did want to see, because I was a huge skeptic. I was like, I'm the girl who does like 8 million power jumps in a 1 hour insanity workout. What's this little 25-minute thing going to do for me? Like this, do you see all this going on that I have here? Like, and when I started T25, I did lose about 30 pounds already. And I think that was just from nursing and just what your body goes through after you have a baby. So we all know, a lot of us know that it was the last of it that wasn't coming off. And I really didn't think anything was going to help. I couldn't do a plank. I couldn't do anything. Hence, I was a modifier in the workout, because I couldn't honestly do anything. And after about 4 weeks of doing the program, modifying, I started getting stronger and seeing results. And then I was able to start doing more and more. So by the time we hit 10 weeks, I was like so strong and I couldn't believe it. And I became a believer. I started drinking Shakeology every day as part of, my daily eating habits. And for once, I felt what it was like to go through before and after. And that's when I decided to become a coach, alongside with the fact that I had lost 50% of my income, which is another side story. It kind of all happened at the same time. And so it was like a no-brainer. Well, let me just give this coaching thing a shot. But before that, somebody had come to me, and it wasn't my coach, who was Danielle Natoni, who I think you guys know. She actually never approached me about the coaching opportunity. And she thought it was funny, because she always thought that I was maybe untouchable or wouldn't want to be a coach. I was banned from coaching for a little while. They didn't let me because of conflict of interest and whatnot. But by the time I was able to become a coach, somebody said, you should become a coach. It's exactly what you're doing already. You're helping people lose weight. You're helping running test groups. You should just become a coach. And I said, no, that's a bunch of crazy salespeople in a cult. And that's exactly what I said. Well, now I'm one of those. So, and I couldn't be happier with the decision I made. And I ran my business part-time. I wouldn't even say part-time. I would say in little time. So for 2 years, I signed up August 1st, 2013. And by July of this year, so it's only been about 4 months, I retired from my full-time job. So it was about 2 years. I was still in New York working, running test groups and, doing a bunch of stuff. But I ran my coaching business for an hour in the morning before the rest of the family woke up, and then late at night after my son went to bed. So if anybody, I get the question a lot, like, how do you make this business work when you work full-time? A lot of us do. I mean, we don't just have nothing to do. Most of us are working or doing something, whether that's a stay-at-home mom, because that's a 24/7 job. That's, all of us have something to do. And what I found was, here's what's interesting, guys. Like I said, 4 months ago was when I became a full-time coach. And in the beginning, I don't know if it was a transition phase, but I almost felt like I was more productive when I had less time. And it's just a discipline thing. It really is. And I had a with my Beachbody mentor at the time, Kim Carver, and he said, now do me a favor. When you become a full-time coach, you have to promise me that you're going to apply the same disciplines you had that brought you to success in these first 2 years, even though you're going to have more time on your hands. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be cake. Like, I can do all that work throughout my entire day. And it was interesting. And I don't know if it was because I knew I had more time. So the lesson in that story is to keep applying your same disciplines that you're doing every single day. I always tell my team, I don't know if you guys do this, but we make a list every month Well, we haven't been doing it every month, but I'm going to start implementing it again every month of what worked. We make one column, what worked this month and what didn't work this month. Because I do believe it does change from month to month. And I tell them to take that part that says what didn't work and just stop doing it. Because I find in this business, the more we grow and the more leaders that come up, the more we try to reinvent everything that we do. And it gets so, like, myself included, I look at other people's systems or I look at other people's trainings. I'm like, oh, I should do that and I should do that. And really, I should just be doing what works for me and my team. And I found that I was doing that and I was being, or I would say, less productive, or not even less productive. I was becoming more busy and less productive. I think that's a better word. And so I recently changed my ways and things are going better. And so we're pushing for top 10, like Joan mentioned. But here's the funny thing about that. It was never in my bucket list of a Beachbody coach. And it was never part of my goals to be a top 10 coach. So I'll be very open and honest. I don't give a rat's booty about rank, about any of that, about recognition. I care about income. That's all. Well, that's not all I care about. But in this business, those were my goals. And I had to be realistic with what that was for me, because pushing for a top 10, while it does have its glory and while it does, I want top 10 for the team. I don't really care about the trip, even though it is Bora Bora and it's super cool. But I'd rather have the income to go take my own trip to Bora Bora. And so those were always my focuses. But the first was, I'm sorry, not my first year, because I'd only been coaching for a couple months. My second year, so it was 2014, Danielle, my coach, said, what did your elite say? What number are you? And I don't remember at the time what I told her, but it was over one. I was in the top 100 or maybe in the top 50. And I didn't know what that meant. And she said, that tells me one thing, you can push for top 10. And I was like, well, I don't know what that means. And I believe because I didn't really focus on the rank or didn't focus on those goals, I was just focusing on just trying to get a bunch of people into my not test groups, that's the wrong word, challenge groups. I was just focusing on building. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't really think about rank or this and that. But every time Danielle would say, you need to do this now. Now this is what your next step is. This is what your next step is. And I thought, well, she's successful and makes a great killing of an income. Maybe I should listen to her. Okay. So I just listened to her. Now I'm not saying that, every advice you get is the right advice, but I knew that my goals were in line with what her goals were. Her goals were income. And I wanted the same thing. So I just listened to what she said, and whatever she said, that, well, it worked for her, so I'm just going to do it. And that's pretty much how I started my whole business. And I never really made top 10 a goal, but I think because I was focusing on the activities we should always be focusing on, then it naturally kind of just gets you there. So my very first month, I don't even remember what I hit in Success Club, but it was over 10. And Danielle said, now never miss it again. And I didn't know why. Well, okay. And then she started talking about, the free trips and this and this and that. And I was like, okay, whatever. Okay, well, I'm just going to do it because she told me to do it. She's successful, so she told me to do it. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So I don't know how many months I'm at now at Success Club, 27, 28, Success Club 10. So because she said to do it. So again, I kind of don't really overcomplicate the business, and I know that Joan doesn't either. I keep it really simple, and I just tell my team, guys, here's what we're focusing on. I'm sorry. I have a kid running around with no pants on. Sorry. Motherhood. So I say, look, this is all we do, guys. We do a program, obviously one of our programs, from start to finish. We have to do it no matter what. We drink our shake. We talk about it publicly. That's all we do. It's really all we do, and that's all I've ever really focused on. Then all the other stuff, all the business stuff and this and this and that, it all kind of comes into play. But I truly believe, because I enforce Success Club, because Danielle did that to me on my team, that we created this culture that everybody in our team always wanted to hit Success Club just because I told them to. and it's funny. I don't know if that's just the machine mentality or culture. It's kind of like, well, we're just going to do it because she said to do it, and we're just going to crank it out because we're machines. And I have set that culture out on our team. So it's kind of like when I say it, people go, okay, we're just going to do it. And I don't know if that's just what the type of people I attract or the energy that I provide. I just tell them, do this because you'll get this. And I don't really sugarcoat a lot. And I do tell them all the benefits of Success Club. And now it's like, even right now, they're like texting me left and right, like trying to push for that last few points over the next hour, to try to hit it. And because we're all trying to push for top 10, and that's one of the biggest factors, right, is hitting Success Club. So all along, I think because I think just by leading by example, that I knew that I was never going to miss Success Club. I showed my team that, and it just kind of has gone along. And I truly believe that's our way that we got to the top 10. I'm not a heavy recruiter. I think it's important for you guys to know that. And because of who I am, makes no difference. People like my photos, sure. People follow my social media, and I inspire a lot of people. That, puts, a smile on my heart for sure. But as far as getting business, it doesn't matter who we are. We all have to, I think there was a big misconception when I first became a coach, was that I was going to have an unfair advantage. And not at all. I have to work just as hard, sometimes if not harder, to build the business. And how I built most of my business is, and I know this is how Joan and I started talking, was on social media, all on Instagram and my Facebook like page. That's all I use. I don't use anything else to recruit. And that's, believe it or not, I don't even really talk to a lot of people in person. I don't know why. I should do that more, actually. That's something I should do more. But I do most of my business on social media. And I started building it right when I became a coach, actually, 2 years ago. And what I started doing is consistently showing up and not vomiting Beachbody all over it. I just wanted to be me and let people know who I was. And share my life. I talk about my 4 F's on my social media. They are family, fitness, fashion, and food, always. If you open up my social media, you will see one of those. And those are my 4 F's. So in case you're ever trying to map out what you want to talk about on social media, 4 F's, that helps. I know a lot of us have that in common as Beachbody coaches, that we talk about similar things, whether your family is you and your dog, right, Joe? Or your real babies, your 2-footed ones. So think of some things to brand yourself. I'm a heavy hitter and heavy believer of social media. That's how I did everything. So as far as like my top tips on how we are reaching for top 10, number 1 is I beat that Success Club. They are probably so tired of me tired of me saying it sometimes. But the little pushes do help. We do some contests, but I've learned that my team doesn't really care about prizes. I've tried that, so I'm just going to save my money and not do that. They just like the recognition post, and they like the shout outs. So that's what we do. My other tip is, I think I've said a lot of things along the way, but besides social media, I'm trying to do this more myself. But when we talk to people it's so interesting how you walk around in fitness clothes 24/7, and so much conversation comes up about like, oh my God, your pants are so cute, or your shoes are so cute. And then I don't really go further than that. And I should, because now we're talking something in common here, whether it's fashion or fitness, whatever. There's that next, and sometimes I just don't say anything, and that's something I need to work on. So seize the opportunity to invite in person more and see how that works. I need to do that more. And basically being you as much as possible. I come down on my team sometimes when I have new coaches come in, and all of a sudden their social media presence completely changes. And now they're a coach. And they're no longer the person, they're not them. And I always to tell people that it's important to, people will sign with you. That's what they want. They want you. The products speak for themselves. I never have to sell a product ever, because when you build a following, and they, sometimes it takes them like 6 months. I have people messaging me like, I've been following you for like 6 months now, and I'm finally ready to join, or I'm finally ready to start a program. I've been watching your post. So thank goodness I'm consistent, because I was a source of motivation for that person for 6 months before they ever decided to do anything. So even if you feel like you have crickets, they're listening. They're just waiting for that right moment. So it's so important that we show up every single day, and talk about, just what we're doing in our life, and providing a source of motivation for people. And just being you, because I honestly think that, I don't know about you, but when you go, I don't know, how many times do you not even shop around? You just call for a personal referral because somebody likes them. Like today, I was doing it all day. I was looking for doctors, so I'm getting you insurance. I'm like, I'm just going to ask, right? Because I don't feel like shopping around. Somebody trusts them, right? And so, the referral business is another thing too. Right? You have your existing customers, and they're going to refer people to you. And then of course, that's when you say you should become a coach, when they start referring people to you. So I just can't express enough to just be you, and people will buy into that, because there's nothing better than you. We all sell the same stuff. Your Shakeology doesn't taste any better than mine. Well, maybe it does, but your workout program doesn't work better than my workout program. We all do the same things, but people are going to connect to you for something. So those are my tips. I don't know if you wanted something more. I have lists of things that we do, but that could take all day. But Joan, do you have, or does anybody have any questions? Or Joan, you want me to share anything in particular?
No, I think that was awesome. And I love this call because it was like perfect for newbies and for people who have been, around for a while. Cause I think that that's something that we all forget. And like when you were talking about, seeing what other people in the business are doing, and, then you're like, oh, I should do that, or I should try that, or I should do that. And really, I think it was Amy Silverman actually who said to me, she goes, don't forget what you did that got you where you are. She's like, keep doing that. And so that's so true. So ignore the shiny objects and just stick to what works for you. I love your idea of like writing down what worked, what didn't, ditch the stuff that didn't. And then also just not overcomplicating. Like do your workouts, drink your shake, and share about it. Like that's the crux. And then for new coaches, I think really hitting home, like Success Club is what makes you successful. Shockingly, it's named Success Club. So, it's that, and then just teaching somebody else to duplicate exactly what you're doing. So I loved it. I loved all your tips. And yes, you did share a lot of them as you were sharing your story, which I loved.
One other thing about Success Club that I always do tell, I just did it. I had a new coach call this earlier today to explain, because when people are new, and for those of you who are new, it's still this like foreign thing. What's Success Club? Like what? It's hard to grasp. I understand it is hard to grasp. So I always talk about the residual income side of it, and always tell. So whether you're onboarding new coaches, or if you're still new and trying to, get your business off the ground, I always tell my coaches, first thing I want you to do is get your costs paid for. How do you do that? Help 3 people. Get 3 people connected to a challenge pack or connected to Shakeology, and yours is paid for, right? And then the next thing I talk about is I need Success Club. Of course, I tell them about Success Starters so they can get to Summit. But again, they're like, huh? What is all this? It's a lot of Beachbody lingo, right? So I say, here's something that they understand: income. Everybody knows that. So I always say, okay, think of it this way. You help 3 people this month, they're on Shakeology. Then next month you have 3 more people. You got 6 people drinking Shakeology. Now on you're compounding your income and getting residual income. And then all of a sudden the light bulbs go off and they're like, oh, I never thought of it that way. That's why I should that's the business building side. That's why I should literally use my fingers like this. I'm like, here's your first month. Here's your second month, and then here's your third month. Now you've got 9 people on, you're getting residual income from that commission, from that Shakeology. Every month you're compounding. So if you continue to reach out and help 3 new people a month, you're only building your business at a much faster pace. So they understand it that way. So that's how I've learned to kind of talk about Success Club and how it builds income.
Yeah. And I think when you make it the first time, you realize, well, I could do it. I just did it, so just repeat it. And so like for me, like you're saying, those goals of like being an SE10 legend, for instance, like that was, I never like, when I signed up to be a coach, I wasn't like, I'm going to be an SE10 legend. But then like I made SE10, I started making SE10 every month. And I was like, well, I mean, I did it last month. I've done it the last 2 months. I've done it the last 3. Oh wait, I've done it the last 12. I've done it and then you're just like, it builds that believability even for yourself. And then you're like, it's easy. I can do this. And you're showing your team that they also can do it by staying steady and making that happen. And then your time just increases ginormously by making sure that you make Success Club every month.
And guys, it's not like, just so you know, we all hit 0 tomorrow together. like I and I would always ask, my upline, I'm like, do you stress out? Like I stress out a little bit, like, because I've made it now a goal. And she's like, oh yes. Like every month, she's like 50 something months or maybe 60 months now, Success Club 10. But she's like, I stress out every single month that I'm not going to hit it. And it's not like anybody's doing this to us, right? There are our own personal goals, but it's kind of like what Joan just said. Once you make something a goal, like even, pushing play every day, you're like, okay, I have to do it. Like I have to. It's non-negotiable. That is my non-negotiable. So every month, and when I first started coaching, I was just building challenge groups and doing a bunch of stuff. That hitting Success Club for me was easier than it is now. Mm-hmm. Now it's a lot harder for me, and it's because I just split my time now because I'm running my team as well. So I'm like 50% on my business, 50% on my team. So as long as I hit 10, I'm like, okay, I'm done. not I'm done, but I really, I have to learn to allocate my time appropriately. But like, I was literally biting my nails. I had 9 points 2 days before Thanksgiving, and my goal was to hit 10 before Thanksgiving so I could just enjoy Thanksgiving and not be like trying to email people. And then they took 2 points away from me, so I was at 7. No, don't you hate when they do that? It's so rude. It's so rude.
Right, so you always have to go a little over 10 just to protect
I know. And so I was stressing anyway, and then I literally, like, I've signed 5 coaches in the last 5 days, and with people that I've been working with for months, actually. They just finally decided to do it. I truly believe everybody just overate on Thanksgiving, and then they're like, okay, I should do that thing now. I'm feeling fat now. I'm going to start. So, but just for all you new coaches, or for those of you who, it's not easy for any of us to hit Success Club. It's hard for all of us. So I hope that makes you feel better. We are no special. We just need a little bit longer and have more experience. And that's all. So we all have to do the same things.
Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. Did anybody else have questions? I'm just going to look through so thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time. Great talk. Thank you. Great call. So many great tips. Keep it simple. I love it. Thanks, Tania. You are a machine. Love it. Candy. Success. Okay. So, awesome. Everybody loves it. Any other questions, guys, while we've got her? Nope. Thanks. Well, thanks. I'm glad that you're feeling better.
I know. I've been sitting on the couch with we have a rice pillow. You can like heat it up and whatever. It's been sitting on my stomach all day. It's awful. Let me tell you what it was. This is I shouldn't be eating like that. It's totally Thanksgiving's fault. Something. I thought I was eating okay, but clearly I wasn't, because my husband's sitting on the couch with it on his stomach now too. We're both like, what did we eat?
All right, this girl sitting right next to me, she threw up during her workout today, and I'm telling you, it is because of the food.
It was my turkey baby.
Yeah. PlyoFix Extreme after a weekend of crap.
Everyone excited though for the launch tomorrow?
Whoa, I cannot wait.
Stress out a little bit? No, I'm just kidding. I always stress on a launch because I'm like, oh my God, everybody.
I stress that tomorrow I'm going to have 0 points, and I stress that tomorrow is a launch, but it'll be all right. Everything will be okay. Are you starting a group earlier in December, or are you waiting till January?
So I actually took a poll, both in my, I have an accountability group that's like been everybody that I've ever worked with. I took a poll in there on whether to start, because I kind of wanted to strike when the iron was hot. Like everybody wants to do it, right? Like everybody's been itching for a new program. And most people were like, I am not trying to start a program in the middle of December. Yeah. A lot of people didn't want to do it. Also, I have a lot of people were doing other programs. Like right now I'm doing Asylum. Oh my God, it's so hard. And then I'm going into Asylum 2 and then right into Hammer and Chisel. So I'm starting mine January 4th. I struggled with that. And I also did a poll on Twitter. I just started using Twitter again. You guys, I don't know if you guys are, I just like I love it. Where have I been? It's so nice. There's like no noise. You just get to it. Like it's so concise. Because I started doing Periscope again. So anyway, I took a poll on Twitter and I asked people, when would you most likely want to start a program, a new workout program, December or January? And it was majority January. Yes, it's cliche, right? Because everybody wants to start beginning of the year. So I don't know if that was a good decision, but I'm going to wait till January. A lot of people are doing one in December and then starting a second group in January and kind of running two. I know a lot of people are doing that.
Way too intense for me. I can't do that many groups.
I want to do it with them. Like it's new. So I usually always do whatever. I only run challenge, guys. I only run one. I'm only a one challenge group girl, and I do it with them.
Yep.
Because, otherwise, I've done it the other way where I haven't done the program. I'll admit I've done 21-day fixed challenge groups, not done it with them, and it's bore balls. Like you cannot, like you just don't connect this. I know. I'm sorry. You just don't connect.
I feel the same exact way. You're like, I forgot to post, or you're like, I don't care because I'm not doing it with, like, it's hard. It's hard to stay on top of things and be in it, like literally in it.
And I don't run my business that way. And I know you don't either. Like I said, I'm not a big recruiter. I'm not a big, I'm just not, I really run my business like with heart and like a family, like I know that you do as well. And I'm just not about that. I never have. So it's like, if I'm running a challenge group, I want it to be something engaging and something that I'm engaged in and something that I want to do. Of course, it's a new program. I'm going to do it no matter what it is. Because the team wants to do it and I should, but I am excited about it because it's something different and something, it's something that my body doesn't really want to do. So I'm going to do it. So I'm excited. I'm just being honest. I just want to dance all day, but maybe throwing a power jump here and there, really great results with,